Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, I will teach you how to cut a boy's shirt step by step in a very simple way. And in this tutorial, not only will I teach you how to cut a shirt, a single button shirt like this, I'll also be teaching you how to cut a double breasted shirt like this one that you are seeing on your screen. And whatever step or method I'm teaching you in this tutorial is not just for a boy's shirt. You can also use this method to sew a shirt for a grown-up man, for an adult. So it's not just limited to cutting a shirt for a boy. You can also use everything I will say in this tutorial to cut a perfect shirt for a man, a grown-up man. If you are a beginner in tailoring or sewing, the methods I'll teach you in this tutorial will help you cut a perfect shirt easily. Make sure you watch until the end so that you don't miss any important parts of the tutorial. When you want to cut a shirt like this, whether you want to cut it for a boy or you want to cut it for a grown-up man, the basic measurement that you need to measure whoever you are cutting for are the shirt length, the shoulder starting from center of the neckline at the back to the shoulder. You will also be needing the chest. It's a shirt, it has to be free, definitely. So you'll be measuring the chest, then you'll be measuring the sleeve length, the armhole, and the round sleeve. The round sleeve around the bicep region because this shirt is obviously a short sleeve shirt. So you'll be using the round sleeve around the bicep region. Let's dive right into the tutorial. The number one tip to achieving a perfect shirt cutting is that it's always good to start cutting from the back panel. So you cut the back panel first and use it to cut the front panel. So what I considered was his chest. Since I'm cutting for the back panel first, I divided the chest by 2 and then I added 4 inches allowance. I measured this on my fabric and folded it into 2. After folding into 2, I divided his shoulder by 2. I added half inch allowance. This half inch is what I'll be using to attach the sleeve to my shirt, and I divided the armhole by 2 and proceeded to marking out and cutting out the armhole curve. So the next is to figure out the length. The length I added 2 inches because I want to fold it very very big. You can as well add 3 inches, you can add 1 inch. It depends on how wide you want to fold the down of your shirt. And basically that is it for the neck back panel. Right now I will not be cutting out the neckline till I'm done cutting the front panel. So for the front, I folded my fabric into 2. I'll be leaving allowance for the button at the front, and to know how many inches, I just have to determine how wide I want the collar to be. In this case, 3 inches is perfect. 3 to 4 inches is perfect, but I used 3 inches. So after measuring that 3 inches, it's on fold of 2. So it's as if you are measuring 6 inches, but it's on fold of 2. So I measured 3 inches. I added 3 inches to the front. And you're adding it to the front because center back and then center front. To be at the center front. So the next is to cut this out from the rest of your fabric with the help of your back panel. And after cutting out, the next I did was to mark out the neckline. For the neck width, I used just 4 because this shirt is for a child. If you are cutting for an adult, you can use 6. Now that it's on fold of 2, I marked 2 inches. If it's on fold of 2 and you're cutting for an adult, you mark 3 inches. So I used neck width of 4, and for the back, I used neck depth of 1. For the front, I used neck depth of 2.5. Then I proceeded to cutting this out and I slanted the shoulder with 0.75 inch. I opened up that center front because definitely it has to be opened up for the zip to be able to stay and all of that. So when I arrange my pieces, the front and back panel, this is what it's looking like at this point. This is the collar. Now I said earlier that I'll also be teaching you how to cut a double-breasted shirt. If you are cutting a double-breasted shirt, this is how you just have to leave the 3 inches that you've used as the collar. You will leave everything. You're not trimming anything out at the down part. You're not trimming anything out at the down part of the shirt. You leave it and this is what it will look like. What you just have to do next is to cut the facing that you'll be using to turn that front collar before you cut the back collar. So for the facing, I'm folding another fabric into 2 and I'm placing my front panel on top of it. You make sure that your facing is extended beyond the neckline. It will go towards the shoulder with like 2 inches or 1.5 inch. Then I proceeded to cutting out the facing. I cut out the neckline and I cut out the shoulder. Please let your facing extend into the shoulder with 1.5 inch or 2 inches because you'll be needing it to turn the collar that is coming from the back. Now my shirt is not double breasted, it's just a single button shirt. So at the lower part, I reduced what I used there to 1 inch. I had to cut out 2 inches from the down, which was what I did, and now my shirt is looking like this. You'll be cutting out these 2 inches from the front panel and also from the facing, the one that you're using to turn it. So what is next is to cut out the sleeve. For the sleeve, I considered the armhole and I added 1 inch. Armhole is 12. I added 1 inch. I measured 13. I folded it into two. And I'll be cutting for the two sleeves at the same time. On fold of two, I divided the round sleeve by two. I added 1 inch sewing allowance. I divided the armhole by two plus 1 inch sewing allowance. And then I proceeded to marking it out and cutting it out. Now, for this back collar, all you have to do is after you have joined the shoulder for the front and the back, you'll be measuring what you have all together inside the shoulder from one side to the center back to the other side. Then whatever you have, you proceed to cutting your collar. I actually made this particular shirt in two different ways. I made it in like I cut it in two different ways. You can see that for this particular one, I cut the facing separately. I also made a tutorial where I cut the facing together with the front panel. Like I didn't cut the facing separately for that other tutorial. So there will not be a need to turn the front of your shirt because it's already cut together. The facing is cut together with the front panel. I hope my explanation is clear. So for that tutorial, I'll be uploading it immediately I am done uploading this one. And the link to that tutorial will be down the description box. And that tutorial is not just a cutting tutorial, it's a cutting and sewing tutorial. So I sewed the shirt in that tutorial. I didn't just cut it, and I cut the facing together with the front panel, unlike this one that I cut the facing separately. My name is Oluwatosin. In case it's the first time you're seeing my channel and you're welcome, please don't forget to subscribe. So all my returning subscribers, you're also welcome. Thank you so much for always watching my tutorials. I hope that this tutorial has been helpful to you. If it has been, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. In case you have any question, please ask me down in the comment section. If you are interested in watching down that tutorial that I spoke about, just click on the box that is currently showing on the right side of your screen. As much as possible, please help me share my tutorial amidst your friends and loved ones. You don't know who this tutorial might be helpful to. Look at how beautiful this shirt came out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next tutorial.